Emma Jane, Summit Village.
Present.
Bernadette White, View Court. Kevin Stokes, Washington Overlook.
Present.
Bernice Green, Wesley House. She's present.
Present.
Mildred Burke from Fort Lincoln Senior Apartments.
Present.
Queen Brown, Vicksburg Apartments.
Here.
Javin Peterson from Dakota Crossing.
Present.
Where's it saying?
Huh? Hattie Pierce, Hillside 2 condo.
Here.
Johnny Barton from Mapleview condo.
Here.
She mentioned he's a proposed nominee. He's a nominee for the board. He's not on the
Right,
board.
opposed nominee.
So you don't normally call the presence of people who are not on the board.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I circled it. Sorry about that. Tallulah Gilliam from the Petersburg Apartments. She won't be with us tonight. She said she had to go to a funeral. And Lydell Smith from the Gettysburg Apartments. I don't think he'll be able to make it. He's attending the funeral today. So I'm going to go over the, it's like an overview of the agenda. First we're going to have the approval of the minutes for May 23rd, 2013 board meeting. And that's by the secretary for now for Bernice Green. And motion to elect by acclamation nominees to replace, to represent Dakota Crossing and Hillside by Roy Pearson, the chairperson, the nomination chairperson. Report and vote on nominees to board of directors to fill vacancies. That's by Roy Pearson. And then we have a photo shoot of the board for 2013-14. And monthly financial report by Bernadette White. And we're going to have training on the Fort Lincoln Civic Association bylaw. And that is Article 1, Nonprofit Cooperation by Bernadette White. Article 2, Boundaries, Bernice Green. Article 3, Objectives, Emma Jane. Article 4, Membership, Kevin Stokes. Article 5, Meetings, Lila Griffin. Article 6, Board of Directors and Officers, Hattie Pierce. Article 7, Election by Javin Peterson. Article 8, Committees, Mildred Burgess and Queen Brown. Article 9, Amendments, Tallulah Gilliam. She's not present, so I guess someone can do that. Article 10 is Parliamentarian Authority. Lydell Smith, he's not present. He might come later, but if he doesn't, someone can do that. And nomination, election of officers for the Fort Lincoln Civic Association, and that would be Roy Pearson. And those officers are president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. And then you have a discussion and consensus on future board meeting dates from September 2013 to June 2014. The new business and announcements including 50 crime report. So now we will have the minutes by the secretary of Bernice Green. She's just going to ask if there's any. Hope everybody have read the minutes. Just don't have to be any corrections on it.
I any corrections or additions to the minutes?
Hope everybody have a chance to read them. If not, we'll have a motion to approve the minutes. As read.
Approve the minutes as read.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that the minutes will be approved as be adopted and approved as read. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the next article is motion to elect by acclamation nominees to represent Dakota Crossing and Hillside by the nominating chair committee.
And this is really a correction from the last meeting at which nominations were made for, I think, 11 of the 13 seats on the board of directors, but 2 were not voted on because I misread the bylaws to indicate that someone had to be present to do the voting in each case before I could ask for that they be elected by acclamation. And that is not correct. I reread the bylaws, and it specifically provides that if the person has been nominated previously, that the board, if there's only one candidate for that position, can by acclamation vote them as representatives of their housing cluster. So I'd like to request a motion to elect by acclamation the 2 nominees from the last meeting for the positions of representatives for Dakota Crossing, and that would be Javen Peterson, and for the Hillside condos, going blank, Hattie Pierce. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the nomination for Javin Brown. Who's the other? Peterson, excuse me. And
Why am I ignoring Hattie today?
I did. I got the Javin Peterson. Huh? Yes. I did. Yeah, I was trying to make the motion to accept your nomination as members of the board.
Did I hear a second?
Second motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we will accept Javin Peterson and Hattie Pierce as board members by acclamation for 2013 and 14. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So welcome back to the board. And I want to thank all the people who served on the board last year and the ones that committed to keep on serving through 2013 and on to 2014. So next is the report to vote on nominees to fill the vacancies on the board. And that's by Mr. Pearson.
Okay, there are 2 vacancies on the board. One is for villages at Dakota Crossing, the newest housing complex in Fort Lincoln, and the nominee is Annalise Morales. I had to work on that. So will you. And the second nominee is to represent Mapleview condominiums on Banneker Drive. Everyone should have a copy of Ms. Morales' resume. It is extremely impressive. If you had seen the entire resume, which is 7 pages long, you can see my effort to chop it down, result in double headlines on some pages and all kinds of stuff. But so this is really an excerpt of her experience. Had a chance to actually, I was over in the village of Dakota Crossing with a number of different purposes in mind. One of them was soliciting persons to represent them because of vacancy. And Ms. Morales from the outset was very enthusiastic. In fact, she intended to be at the election, and other commitments prevented her from being here. And so she was alacrity offered her services. And as you can see from her resume, they are considerable. She's actually lived all over the world. Her father was a Army officer who was stationed in various places in Europe and the United States. And so she's lived in the States, she's lived in countries, including a sizable stint in Japan, where she was, during most of the time, she was in middle school, high school, and some college. So she describes herself as an Army brat. That's kind of a popular term for a person who has learned to adjust to a variety of different situations in life, including different languages, people of different ethnic persuasions. She's almost an ideal person, in my estimation, to represent the villages at Dakota Crossing, because it is probably the most, shaping up to be the most diverse housing complex in Fort Lincoln. Fort Lincoln is still pretty monochromatic, to say the least. It's overwhelmingly African American. Dakota Crossing probably has, I'm guessing, 10% Asian and Caucasian.
Yeah, it's about right, 10 to 15.
10 to 15%. But just from my doing surveys of Dakota Crossing, it's very clear they have a substantial, Asian, Hispanic, and other population, Caucasian, etc. So, given her background in a variety of different people, a lot of different countries, I think she is an ideal person. She also brings a specific skill in financial management to the board. And in the past, although not as glaring now because Ms. James is on the board, we have been particularly efficient in the area of Excel spreadsheets, and hopefully she'll help us remedy displaying financial information each month. So I'm extremely proud to be able to nominate her as a nominee to represent the village of Dakota Crossing. The second nominee for Mapleview is Johnny Barton. Johnny Barton is a native Washingtonian, grew up not only in Northeast Washington, D.C., but right across the way in Woodbridge. Johnny and I go back a ways. We were both attorneys with the Neighborhood Legal Services Program in the early 1990s. I actually interviewed, on a panel that interviewed Johnny for a position as a staff attorney with the Neighborhood Legal Services Program, back when I was the assistant director of the Neighborhood Legal Services Program. And so, back in 1993, I met Johnny. And that was around the time that he moved to Fort Lincoln. So 2003, 1999. Moved to Fort Lincoln. He was a member of the Legal Affairs Committee that I started around that time. We were research into the land disposition agreement with an eye toward either trying to negotiate or bringing a lawsuit against the developer. One of the, I tried to identify every lawyer in Fort Lincoln, so we have a representative panel. And Johnny was one of the members of the Legal Affairs Committee way back then. He lived in Fort Lincoln for about 6 years. And still has his townhome in Mapleview, although he now lives elsewhere in northeast D.C. He has a variety, just talk about a extensive background in both law as well as religion. You'll notice from his resume that he was a major in Bachelor of Science in Religious Education. He is a pastor of the church in Glen Arden. So if you don't have a church home, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you about that. He also has extensive background in D.C. law. Not unlike Kevin Stokes, he was a member of the Office of Attorney General. He was also the Council District of Columbia. And so he's extensive background in D.C. laws, enacting D.C. laws, proposing D.C. laws, that kind of thing. He's volunteered to chair the Legal Affairs Committee. He's confirmed as a nominee so that the board ever needs any advice or anything related to D.C. law. Of course, it has Kevin, but we have a conflict of interest. Johnny is available to provide counsel to the board on a wide variety of matters.
he's still a practicing lawyer in addition to being a full-time pastor, as well as a real estate agent. This is a man who wears many, many hats effortlessly. So I think there are two extraordinary nominees to fill the two vacancies on the board. Very happy to commend them to the board for your consideration, questions, and vote.
I would like you to pronounce your name.
Annalise.
Annalise.
Like
Annalise.
you're at least to a car. Annalise.
Right, go ahead before you have.
Yeah, that's like Annalise.
I mean, you know. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you'd be willing to work and help us when you need a lot of help. Willing to come to all the meetings. Thing that you can do for Mr. Martin.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you willing to work hard with us?
Sure am.
Okay, because we need a lot of help, you know, a lot of people that step up, you know, and do the things, you know, that they see that you know, on board in the community, and, you know, whatever we attempt to do. So, welcome to the board.
Wait a minute now. Anybody have any questions before we start working?
I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the two nominees submitted to us as prospective board members.
I second the motion. And moved and second that we accept the two board members, the two nominees for board members, Mr. Barton and Ms. Morales. I can say that. All in favor? Yeah. All opposed? Okay.
Give them their name plates.
So the next is photo taking of the new board. Everyone is not here, so did we go on with it?
Well, the only person who said they might make it said it was a long shot. So I would go ahead and take the photos. If the board doesn't object, I'd like to take the photos right outside. And if he comes, then we can take another photo inside. By that time, it'll be probably too dark to take it outside. So can we adjourn for about 10 minutes to take a photo in the front?
In the front?
Yeah.
We can always photograph one side.
Okay. Talking about skills I don't have, but okay.